Can anybody hear me?
I can hear you.
Good. Yeah. Well, I switched machines. I'm on a new machine, so I guess we're back, and I think we're okay.
Oh, we're still not okay because we wanted to share a video.
I'd love to see a video. I love videos. Right. I don't know anything about any permission being asked or not asked or anything else.
We're not able to show it, Mr. Chairman. I mean, we'd like to.
What is the video? Give me an idea.
A video of people objecting on January 6, 2017, to the counting of the electors when President Trump won on January 6, 2017.
Well, I have no idea. I don't know anything about that, but the fact is that's not really particularly, and I don't mean to be argumentative or anything, Mr. Jordan, but that's not relevant. We're not going into anything that happened with any of that stuff.
Not relevant? The chairman of the House Administration Committee just released a 2,000-page report going after 140, oh, not part of this hearing? You got to be kidding me. 140 some Republicans?
That's the House Administration Committee, not us.
That's not part of not part of this hearing, and I don't really know.
Well, she's a member of the Judiciary Committee.
She's not a member of this subcommittee, and as you well know,
she's a member of the Judiciary Committee.
So what? That doesn't mean she's not a member of the subcommittee.
Well, Ranking Member Johnson just read a letter talking about this very issue. This is entirely relevant. That report comes out a few days ago, and you have this hearing this week. Just coincidence?
The report was
let me suggest if some technical difficulty is preventing that video, why don't you just describe the video so we understand it, and let's proceed.
I'll read my statement. President Biden campaigned on a promise of unity, but Democrats in the House, like Chairman Lofgren, are putting together reports that attack Republicans, over 140 Republicans.
Mr. Jordan,
let's be clear. Chairman Lofgren's report is a 2,000-page.
We can't see you now. I can't. Camera gone out.
I can see him fine.
I can't see him, and I can't see anybody other than myself now. I see Mr. Jordan has just popped back on.
I mean, this has just been, it took us 30 minutes to get on to it was such a mess. I mean, this is a comedy of errors, this whole hearing. Democrats in the House, like Chairman Lofgren, are putting together reports that attack Republicans. Chairman Lofgren's report is a 2,000-page political opposition dossier put together at taxpayer expense. Think about that. Taxpayer dollars used to target fellow members of the United States Congress. Chairman Cohen went on television and accused without evidence Congressman Boebert of helping criminals storm the Capitol without a bit of evidence. Other Democrats have filed frivolous resolutions to censor or expel Republican members.
Mr. Jordan, would you yield for a minute?
So much for unity. Be happy to yield to the chairman.
Thank you. This has never been made clear. All I said on television is I saw Miss Boebert going with a group of people in the tunnel. I then said I didn't see anybody involved in the insurrection, and I also said this very well may have just been the historical record of her getting sworn in for the first time, and people wanted to go see it.
Come on.
You said go to CNN, Jim. Go to CNN, and you'll see that.
How about I read your? How about I read your quote? She's not on the home team. She was with the visitors. How about that quote?
That she's not on the home team. When you tweet 1776, you're not on the home team. But that doesn't have anything to do with her leading the insurrectionists. I said she specifically could have just been going up there for a celebration.
You know what? You know what you did, Mr. Chairman. Other Democrats have filed frivolous resolutions to censor or expel Republican members.
Go on with
so much for unity. Was it my time, or are you just going to run the whole thing? Is it my time?
It's your time to you continue with your calumny.
Excuse me, I didn't hear what you said. Continue with what?
Your calumny.
Oh, well, I'll continue with presenting the truth. These same Democrats spent 4 years accusing President Trump of colluding with Russia, allegations we knew at the time were false, and now the whole country knows are completely false. 19 minutes, Mr. Chairman, 19 minutes into President Trump's term, the Washington Post read a headline, quote, "The campaign to impeach President Trump has begun." President Trump wasn't even done with his inaugural address, and you guys were working with the media to impeach him. And of course, the video I wanted to play talks about what happened on January 6th. But I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll just read from it. I'll read from the congressional record. Congressional Record, House of Representatives, Washington, Friday, January 6, 2017. Mr. McGovern, Mr. President, I object to the certificate from the state of Alabama. Mr. Raskin, state of Florida, he objected to. Ms. Jayapal, Mr. President, I object to the certificate from the state of Georgia. Ms. Lee, Mr. President, I object to the state of Michigan. Mississippi, Ms. Jackson Lee, Mr. President, I object. Mr. Grijalva, Mr. President, I object to the certificate from the state of North Carolina. Ms. Jackson Lee, Mr. President, I object to the state of North Carolina. Ms. Jackson Lee, I object to the votes from South Carolina. Ms. Jackson Lee, Mr. President, I object to the votes from Wisconsin. Ms. Maxine Waters, the state of Wyoming, is there one United States Senator who will join me in this letter of objection? So Democrats, think about this. January 6, 2017, the chairman of the Rules Committee can object to Alabama, a state President Trump won by 30 points.
Hello?
Yes, sir. You need me?
Yeah, you should probably mute though, Mr. Chairman, so I can, while I'm talking. Again, one more comedy of errors in this committee hearing. Mr. Raskin, the lead impeachment manager, can object to Florida in 2017, and Maxine Waters, chairwoman of the House Financial Services Committee, can object to Wyoming, a state that President Trump won by 40 points. But somehow Republicans, Mr. Chairman, aren't allowed to object to Pennsylvania, where they changed the law unconstitutionally in 3 different ways. Pennsylvania law says the election ends at 8 o'clock on Tuesday. The partisan Supreme Court went around the legislature, said, no, it's going to end on Friday. State election law says, for mail-in ballots, there has to be signature verification. Secretary of State, partisan Secretary of State said, nope, we're not going to do that. And for 2.6 million ballots, they didn't follow the law because some elected Democrat, not the legislature, decided that. I can't object to Pennsylvania, but Democrats are allowed to, on January 6, 2017, object to Wyoming and Alabama. I mean, you've got to be kidding me. For 4 years, there was no let up in trying to overturn the 2016 election. In fact, here's what Hillary Clinton said last fall, fall of 2020. She said last fall, the election was stolen, and she called President Trump illegitimate. 4 years after he was elected. But somehow when Republicans object on January 6, 2021 to unconstitutional changes made in key swing states, somehow that warrants a 2,000-page political dossier by the chairwoman of the House Administration Committee. And now you're going to have a hearing on this subject? Maybe we'd be better served, Mr. Chairman, if the full Judiciary Committee would have a hearing, just any hearing. Why don't we have a hearing on the border crisis? I mean, we all know there's a crisis down there. For goodness sakes, you're putting migrant kids in NASA facilities. Can't have a hearing on that. Can't have a hearing on cancel culture. The attack on the First Amendment. This is a Judiciary Committee. The committee is supposed to be in charge of protecting the Bill of Rights, the Constitution, and free speech rights. Can't have a hearing on cancel culture, but we're going to have a hearing in this subcommittee on a report by the chairwoman of the House Administration Committee that targets Republicans. It is wrong. It's time the Judiciary Committee did its job and focused on the issues that matter to the American people, like the border crisis and like the cancel culture attack on the First Amendment. With that,